Good morning. It's a beautiful Thursday morning. Welcome to the Camnet Breakfast Show. My name is Marco Kwakos. Now, this is a program that comes to you every single day at 07 hours. Sincere apologies for starting the program a bit late today due to circumstances beyond our control. But we are back. We are here to give you nothing but what is happening in the world of current affairs. I'm not alone in the studio. My co-host Patrick Soko is here also. Patrick, good morning. Welcome.
Well, good morning and thank you, Kozi. Hoping to have a good day, especially being a Thursday as we talk about governance, policy and politics.
So this is a fully packed program today. We do have the NMC member from the Socialist Party who will be talking to us later on the show. But before we delve into the issues of politics and governance, we are going to start the show as usual on a health note with the Health Corner.
Hi, I'm Dr. Nakwena Mfaya, and I'm glad that you could join us here on the Health Corner on the Breakfast Show. This week we have been talking about asthma, and we say that asthma is a chronic inflammatory disease that affects the airways and causes a hyperresponsiveness in the airways that comes about with an obstruction in the airways, and these patients would present with a wheezing sound when they are breathing, some chest tightness, shortness of breath, or difficulties in breathing, and sometimes they would have a cough. Then we also say that it's usually diagnosed clinically in the hospital, and that once a patient has been found to have asthma or to be in an asthmatic attack, there are medications that are used immediately to relieve them from those symptoms that they are having or experiencing. The other thing is that we talked about the triggers of asthma. We say that asthma can be triggered by many irritants in the environment, such as dust, such as pollen from the plants, and also pets can also trigger an asthmatic attack. So if you have pets that have fur, such as a dog or a cat, they can also trigger an asthmatic attack. Then we also say that people who work in certain areas where they are exposed to dust, they're exposed to paint, such as builders, painters, farmers, people who work in the mines can also get asthma. If not asthma, then they would also get any other respiratory diseases or chronic respiratory diseases that affect the lungs and the airways. So the other thing is that infections can also trigger asthma, and exposure to cold air, exposure to exercise can also trigger asthma. So how can you prevent asthma or prevent an asthmatic attack? Usually this is done by avoiding all these triggers that we have mentioned. So if you if you're somebody who stays in the house, then avoid having dust in your house. Make sure that you clean out all the dust. You sweep your house on a regular basis to avoid a lot of dust settling in. Make sure that you keep your pets outside. If you have any pets such as a dog or a cat, and make sure you keep them outside so that they don't put the fur on your furniture or on your surfaces in the house, and avoid getting these attacks. The other thing is that if you as we are going into the cold season, you can try to reduce the exposure to cold air. So if you're going outside, you can wear a mask that can help to prevent the cold air from getting through to your lungs or your chest easily. Exercise can trigger asthma, so try to reduce on your exercise. I know we talk about exercise being very important, but if you are somebody who is asthmatic, then you don't want to over exercise or do so much exercise. So if you know that whenever you exercise or whenever you do certain activities, it triggers your asthma, then you can avoid doing those activities, just so that you don't have these asthmatic attacks, because they are deadly, and you might end up losing your life because of it. The other thing is that people who work in certain areas where they're exposed to irritants, they can try to wear a mask as well whenever they are working, so that they reduce the exposure to those irritants. So farmers, workers in certain factories, painters, builders, plumbers, people who work in the mines, they can try to wear a mask so that you reduce your exposure to these irritants or allergens in the environment. Then avoid getting so close to people who have respiratory infections such as having a flu, a cold, because these can easily trigger an asthmatic attack as well. So avoid getting infections from other people, from the environment. You can wear a mask when you're going out in the public, just so you can avoid having these infections and avoiding having an asthmatic attack. So these are ways that you can avoid having an asthmatic attack. For people who smoke, you can try to stop smoking. If that's your trigger and you know that it triggers your asthma, then make sure you avoid smoking, or avoid people who are smoking, because even secondhand smoking can lead to having an asthmatic attack. I do hope you have learned something this week. If you have any questions, you can reach out to me on Facebook at Dr. Nakubiana Mfaya, and if you need to watch the other videos, you can watch them on YouTube as well at Dr. Nakubiana Mfaya. I'll see you again next time. Make sure you stay blessed and stay healthy.
Welcome back. That was the Health Corner with Dr. Nakubiana Mfaya. Interesting topic of discussion pertaining to asthma. I hope you did manage to learn one or two things on that disease. Interesting. We need to always keep, especially home, especially this time of the season, cozy, because if you look, coughs and flus tend to be so severe during this time of the season. So let's make sure that we are proactive in taking care of ourselves and our children, especially as they go to school. Make sure that they are putting on appropriate attire so that keeps them warm throughout the day, to avoid them getting a cold. So now let's also proceed to look at how the kwacha is performing against other major convertible currencies. Now, the Great British Pound is buying at 21 kwacha 73 ngwe. The Euro is buying at 18 kwacha 0.79 ngwe. The South African Rand is buying at 0.92 ngwe and selling at 0.94 ngwe. And $1 is buying at 17 kwacha 0.19 ngwe and selling at 17 kwacha 0.53 ngwe. So the kwacha is trading around the 17 kwacha band, and it was at 21 at some time back against the US dollar. And you are seeing that as per financial institution that we monitor as of this time 0744, those are the money markets, and but they do vary from one bureau to the other and financial institution to the other, depending, but they don't differ much. They're just cents or that in terms of the difference. So otherwise, that's how the kwacha is performing. And in case you want to change those dollars in 2 kwacha, those kwachas in $2. That's how you are getting, you are trading at. So it is just important. We continue to emphasize that a strong currency is important for Zambia, because the currency also is an important determinant of the economy.
Yes, and I hope, because usually when we see the pump price review every month, the reason that is given usually is the kwacha's performance against the dollar. So looking at how the kwacha has performed this particular month, I really hope that we only see at the West no change in the price of fuel, but what I expect is to see a reduction in the cost of fuel pump price this month.
Interesting.
Moving on, we have a tight schedule today.
A very tight one.
Yeah, we need to move fast, but let's quickly zoom into a few stories that we have this morning that made the headlines, of course, in our news. We have a story that is coming from a Gwembe Member of Parliament, and it says there is a standoff between cotton farmers and cotton buyers in Gwembe district due to low prices being quoted by the buyers. Now, Mr. Simuzingiri says cotton prices have dropped from 15 kwacha per kilo in 2022 to 5 kwacha per kilo this year, and has wondered why this is the case. Now, he has since called on the Zambian government to intervene in the matter, adding that most farmers in Gwembe lost their maize due to drought, and they are relying on the sale of cotton to buy maize. Meanwhile, the Cotton Board of Zambia has engaged the Parliamentary Committee on Agriculture to support its move to repeal and replace the Cotton Act of 2005 to ensure that cotton farmers are not being exploited. Let's have a look at this report.
The current low cotton prices prevailing in the country has sent a lot of shivers to cotton farmers who fear making losses from their hard-earned investment. Gwembe district in Southern Province is one such area where cotton prices have significantly dropped from 15 kwacha per kilogram in 2020 to 5 kwacha per kilogram in 2023. This has worried the area Member of Parliament, Tyson Simuzingili, who now wants government to intervene in the matter.
The price of cotton was 15 kwacha. But this year, the cotton price is 6 kwacha. So they're asking what has gone wrong. Are there any parameters that has changed that warrant that reduction? My appeal is to the Ministry of Agriculture to quickly intervene and help our farmers.
Meanwhile, the Cotton Board of Zambia has since engaged the Parliamentary Committee on Agriculture to support the process it has undertaken to repeal and replace the Cotton Act No. 21 of 2005 in order to enhance the regulations so that farmers are not disadvantaged when it comes to cotton pricing.
Motivation for us to try to prop up this sector using the law which works. So we have a very classical example in Benin. They have done it. We equally here can do it. And that's why we are trying to engage you as much as we can so that we come up with a law which is supportive of cotton growing.
I don't know how it was done. There's no regulations in our article, in our act. There's only articles that are there. So that is why we are saying now that we need to change, because there's no act that, I don't know how it was enacted, honestly.
On the other hand, the parliamentarians who attended the meeting had lots of questions on the Act and wondered why the Act has taken long to be amended, while calling on government to include cotton on the e-voucher program.
Either in the cotton industry or the tobacco industry, where you see that the ones that end up suffering are our farmers, the small-scale farmers. Now you as cotton board, before you think of changing the law, or you ask us to change the law, what is it that you have done for these farmers?
Of 15 kwacha last year, and now 6 kwacha this year. Surely, if you borrowed, how are you going to mitigate on that?
The Ministry of Agriculture, in their response, say they are amending the e-voucher system to include other crops on the program rather than maize.
Major reforms principally to take into account the concerns that you have expressed. Because all of us in the ministry have agreed and resolved that there is no need to push fertilizer and maize, even in areas where this crop cannot grow and be sustained. So the VC e-voucher program will be an open check so that farmers decide on their own.
Cotton has the potential to change Zambia's agriculture sector and improve its economy if the right laws and policies are put in place. Prudence Jota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Interesting story there as regards the cost of cotton. Farmers and cotton buyers in Gwembe district are in a standoff as they cannot agree. The difference from the cost of cotton in 2022 to the cost of cotton this year is just huge, from 15 kwacha to 6 kwacha according to the MP.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, it is really exploitation of farmers there if you look at it, Kozi. And we continue to wonder, how do we manage this? Why should we only focus on maize? And talking about maize itself, we have failed to manage it. And our topic of discussion is also hinging on the price of this commodity, which is mealie meal, which has been fetching around 250 kwacha in Lusaka. And if you talk about areas beyond Lusaka, the price has been high. Now, if you look at cotton, the Food Reserve Agency does not pay attention to such crops. They focus on about 5 major crops. And so the cotton is left to the private buyers, and that tends to affect the pricing mechanism, because people just suggest the prices they want. Yeah.
And it's a very labor-intensive crop. So that is it about the cost of cotton, as farmers think that the 5 kwacha that the buyers want it at is too low. Let's move on. Patrick.
Interesting. Now we are at that time of the day when we have to have the interview of the day, and today we are joined by someone who is not new to the screens, especially here on Camnet TV. He is the member of the National Management Council of the Socialist Party in Zambia, and he is also a community leader and Monari constituency parliamentary hopeful, Mr. Crispin Chinda. Welcome to the program, sir.
Thank you very much for inviting me on your breakfast show, and thank you, Kozi. It's good to see you after a long time.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Patrick also, it's been a long time.
Indeed.
Yeah, so good morning to the people that are following us on TV, and those that are following us on Facebook, Camnet TV Facebook page.
Interesting. Mr. Chinda, we know you mostly as a community leader, first of all. I don't know if you have also taken an interest in terms of understanding the cost of living, especially in the areas pertaining to Monari constituency, where you are mostly found. We are looking at issues pertaining to mealie meal. This week it has been a topical issue. The price of mealie meal has been increasing. This is because the others are arguing that it's because farmers were given a good price at which the government is buying. But the government also, when they were taking that decision, they said they were going to make sure that there is enhanced production of the commodity, and that will translate into the lower prices. But how would you weigh in on this subject as a community leader?
Yeah, so for us where we are, I think even where we are from the Socialist Party, is that we are concerned with some of the decisions that this government or the UPND is making. Yes, I might be in Monari, but I'm fully aware of the cost of living and everything that is pertaining across the country. As regards to cost of living, we are also affected in Monari. It's just 2 days ago I was buying mealie meal. I went to one of these chain stores. Ninadaba window pesa unga ni 240 that particular time. That was last week. Inekona sina believe nakopa 240. Naenda kwidango nisingati unga. Kondo pesa 246. Kuchenga checking kupeza sona abantu ambako noshita na post pa Facebook kuti unga wadura. So the cost of living is hitting us. But you see, why I'm saying some of these decisions is that you cannot make a decision that, again, you are creating another problem somewhere. So what the government has done by putting up a floor price of 280 on the floor of maize, what do you call it? The floor price of maize. 280 to the farmer. Yes, the farmer will celebrate. But what about the millers themselves? Because kuzankala ka transport ka kwenda tenga milisi kuzankala manje popanga production ya unga cheja kuzankala ti fuel cost, kuzankala na electricity, kuzankala na muntu amene yasebenzera paja na masaka ikamu kuti bwere futi pa market zafunga transport ucha ku plant bwere kwa kwetiriri semanje zapeza ati the cost will go very much high. So na vantu che manje vambako complain nishi government yatu vatishitira chani shwa unga manje tikazigula pali 250 kwacha 246 kwacha. So that is a complaint that is there. The cost of living is going up. Olo cooking kaja ka 2.5 kaja ka me tenzo kulako kenzeko pa ma 85 manja pa 95. Sugar ija ka 2 kg kaja ka me tenzo kulako about 48 kwacha. Apa manje ni 52 kwacha, 52 up to 55 kwacha. So you see, so the cost of living is going up, and we don't see any measures from government, and no one is talking about it. Apa we've been all of us, we are just hearing debt structure, restructuring of debt, but the cost of living end up mamba. You see, so the people of Mali and the people of Zambia are complaining that the cost of living is too much, and there are no measures from government. No one is talking about it from government.
Interesting. Now that you talk about the cost of living, first of all, from the Socialist Party point of view, is there a blueprint for addressing the cost of living?
Yes. From where we are sitting from Socialist Party is that, you see, everything that we have comes from agriculture. So one of our major pillars in the Socialist Party is agriculture. So we need to increase capacity or give capacity to our people so that they can grow enough maize. The production of maize must be not only maize, but just agriculture in itself, in the scope of agriculture, all of it. We need to increase capacity on our people, because you see the challenge we have now is that our population is growing at 2% per annum. So meaning that at the moment we are 19.6 million Zambians, in the next 10-15 years we are going to be 36.5 million Zambians. So ngati tikangiwa ku diabo no bwino na cost of living the way it is till 19.6 million. What more when we are 36 million Zambians? How are we going to live? We need to start planning now. So as Socialist Party, we are planning on how we are going to govern this country. We are looking at from day one when we take over government. What are we supposed to do? One is we need to look at agriculture. We need to find money wherever we can find money. Train a lot of our people in these agriculture schools. Send them to villages so that extension officers can now teach our people how to grow not only maize but different crops, and so that we have a lot of maize out there, and it will be cheaper for us. It will be cheaper for when you have these things, a lot of them there. It will be cheaper for us, and also we need to look at many production industries that we can create. We know that in Eastern Province we have a lot of soybeans there and groundnuts. We need to put up a processing plant there, and those farmers who have a ready market, instead of having transport from all the way from Eastern Province to Lusaka, they're going to supply that soybeans to the industry there, because they'll be treated as the outgrowers. We also need to get interested as government that cashew nuts has been with us for a long time. So why can't government get interested so that we can put up a plant in Western Province, and those farmers that are doing cashew nuts, they can be supplying the cashew nuts to the industry that is there, and we process, we give it value addition, we are able to export that product, and also we have to be interested also in Mwinilunga, where we have pineapples. Why can't we produce juice so that we have that production in our hands, and we can export that production either to Congo or any other country, so that we have these monies coming here. So when we have a lot of production industries who have a lot of money that will be coming on our coffers, that is local resource mobilization. And now we can channel that money to our social sector, like free education policy, so that we have a lot of money from there. And also, in these particular schools, we would want to encourage schools to continue with production units, so that in those production units, they are able to find, to make their own local resources to buy tissue and these other things from schools. They don't need to wait from government. And in it also, they'll be teaching learners how to grow certain crops in those schools. That production units had started, but then it has died off because of this introduction of free education policy, and then they said, no, you don't have to do anything. This free education policy is also our policy as Socialist Party. We want education to be free from grade 1 maybe to tertiary. You know, I think President Fred Membe has mentioned how this should be done. But then it has to be supported, and then we need to be teaching our learners from tender age to by the time Africa grade 12 nishi, that's what interest, and that is how we are going to grow the agriculture sector, with people interested in doing farming. So when we do that, I think life will be easier.
Interesting. You mentioned when you were talking about the cost of living issues pertaining to the debt restructuring, but it has been topical for this week and last week, and the argument has been that it was difficult for the government to work on these other things because the previous administration overborrowed, and that restructuring the debt was among key fundamentals to make sure that we get the economy functioning and working for everyone, and that other things such as addressing the cost of living will eventually be addressed. What would be your perspective on that?
Well, one is that even just the people out there, I'm also one of the citizens, we are expecting that after this celebrated debt restructuring, we want to see change. We want to see what they're going to do new. Because for the past closer to 2 years that they've been in government, they've never paid anything, not even a coin towards the debt. So we want to see if there will be any change now. If that money indeed it was maybe kept somewhere so that they can service the debt, now it has been restructured, so the money will be put into our economy so that the cost of living can come down. So we are anxiously as a people waiting to see what government is going to do now. But again, when you look at it, it's not, our debt stock was about 12.8 billion, and only 6.3 or 6.5 billion dollars has been restructured. So the restructuring is not debt cancellation per se. In the other quarters, we've been told that no, our debt has been cancelled, but this has just been transferred or postponed to later date in the future. So that we whatever we do, we still need to pay it. There might not be the UPND that will pay it, but another government that is coming in the future must handle that debt that has been deferred. So for now, we want to see, but from what we are reading is that even this government is borrowing. So who's going to restructure their debt? So by now, we are told it's more than 3 billion that they've borrowed. So after they leave government, how much debt are we going to have? How are we going to service the debt? So those are some of the questions that we are asking. So what we needed to do from this government, I thought they would now start commissioning production units, production industries, so that we can increase capacity in our industries, and we collect enough taxes and also some of the productions so that the government can make money out of it. But just waiting for CDF. CDF is very good, but it's not significant to change anything, because it's like we're talking about mending of those potholes in our constituencies, building 1 by 3 classroom blocks, that is not significant. We are looking at the capital investments. I've already said our population is growing. Are we going to be using the same roads that we are using now? Because now the congestion is increasing. Ngatuchoka kuja kuchoston yambira pa tanki paja. Congestion ngati kulipe chepa police kuja wemiri yako pa pastariro side pa nanishi muzache doctor ufike chepa mnaji. You see, so let's say in the next 5 years is an Kalabani situation. So if the government is not opening up these other roads and developing these other sectors, then it will be a problem for us. So we are expecting a lot from this government, if at all there's something to talk about.
So now that we have a breathing space, the debt has been restructured. What advice or what direction should the government take in order to generate revenue to pay back this debt from now until 2043?
Yeah, so the advice to government is that they need to look at productions. They need to look at how much taxes are we collecting. Are we collecting enough taxes from the mines? Are we any production that they can come up with? For us as a socialist party, we are looking at building up a gold reserve, where we had the gold rush in Rumezi, we had gold rush in Kasensedi. So our government, Socialist Party government, we want to take advantage of that and say, oh, okay, so can't we have gold in these areas? So government must get interested. Maybe we'll have a company that will just give value addition, but that same gold must be bought by Bank of Zambia and stored at Bank of Zambia so that we build up a gold reserve. After 3-5 years, we're going to have a huge gold reserve that we can offload on the international market and get some money that we can get and pay and service the debt. Mm-hmm. So we are expecting that such moves like that will be implemented by government so that we have money coming on the mines, particularly, mines is our strategic natural resource. So we need to be interested that we are getting enough from the mines. So if at all we will not get enough from the mines, then I don't know which production they will do. Because like I said, CDF is not enough to develop the country. CDF, yes, is good in our communities, it's good. But we need capital investments. We need hospitals to be supported. We need the education sector to be supported. We need these industries, these other ministries also to be supported. But how is government? We cannot only start waiting on taxes. Taxes are not enough. Look at how many civil servants they've employed. Mm-hmm. So these taxes, you find that 60 or 70% of the taxes that we are collecting will go to salaries. And we cannot continue borrowing. I think for us, let's focus on building up the capacity, expanding the capacity in agriculture, so that we can grow enough maize, enough crops, so that we are able to sell outside. That is what I'm expecting from our government.
Interesting. You mentioned the gold reserves arrangement, which the Socialist Party would also want to take on. I want to also bring it to attention that the PF had started the project of on reserving their gold, buying gold through the Bank of Zambia. And probably you were just telling us that you would want to enhance that as the Socialist Party.
Yes.
Now, moving on, Mr. Chinda, I want to find out, there's been a concern, for instance, that the government has no business doing business. And that's the current administration. The president has on several occasions saying that government should just leave things to the private sector. But what does your policy say as the Socialist Party?
Before you come in, we do have a first caller this morning. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning. Good morning. I think we lost that one. Keep trying until you get through to the Camnet Breakfast Show and interact with our guest this morning. We have in studio the Socialist Party member of the National Management Council, Mr. Crispin Chinda, and we are discussing current affairs and issues pertaining to the high cost of living, and minimum being among those issues that have been topical this week. You too, our dear viewers, you can tell us how much are you buying minimum in your various localities. You can give us an idea or of how things are in your respective districts, constituencies, wards and constituencies. So now, going on with our program, I was asking a question, Mr. Chinda, there, pertaining to the Socialist Party. And vis-a-vis, we understand that the UPND is a capitalist government. And the president is on record saying that the government has no business doing business. And you were giving an example. The government needs to think industrialization. They need to invest in capital projects. But this government says, to the contrary, they want the private sector to just do that, and not government should not be involved.
But again, the president is on record. One of the press briefings where he said, we want to run government as a business. You know, the president is on record in one of the press briefings where he said, we run this as a business, not where you leave everything. But okay, what we are saying for us is that socialism is different from capitalism. Capitalism, you find that people get these resources or get wealth.
Let me disrupt you before you explain issues there on socialism. Hello, you are through to the breakfast show. Good morning. Hello, good morning. Okay, I think we have a connectivity problem there. We'll just take a short break and we'll be back. And remember, in conversation, we have the Socialist Party member of the National Management Council, Mr. Crispin Chinda, and we are discussing current affairs. And in case you also want to join us, you can do so by leaving us that message on our social media platforms. We are streaming this broadcast live on social media platforms, including Facebook as well as YouTube. So you can do so and leave us that message. We'll be able to read it out, and our guests will be able to respond to every concern you may have pertaining to our discussion this morning. So we are going to just take a quick break, and then we'll be back on the other side.
The FARS 2022-2023 season is over, and the 2023-2024 season is around the corner. Camnet Stars Football Club, popularly known as the local national team, is looking for young talented football players from across Zambia, aged between 16 and 23 years old. Camnet soccer trials will be held on the 30th of June and the 1st of July 2023 in Lusaka at 09 hours. The venue is Kabulonga Boys Secondary School grounds. Your skills could earn you a place in the world of soccer greats in Zambia and the world. Camnet Stars Football Club, the local national team, is a team born for greatness with visionary players. Let us join hands and contribute to high levels of Zambian football standards. Don't miss these trials. The future of Zambian soccer is dependent on you. Make a date with us. Remember, you are born for greatness. See you there.
It's time! Camnet TV brings to you an exciting kids show called My Creation. Join me, Sarah Chandamagazagia, to interact with kids with special skills and talents between the age range of 9 to 17. This show will come to you every Saturday at 13:30 on Camnet TV, not just another channel.
ingatamwishive pekani tuliposhe bana fia sasa ushe umwana nanyina inganaba kuturuka uwinge wo munankwateka sambe nani mwe ipisha ina ipisha abo mwikere nabo.
Welcome back. You are still watching the Camnet Breakfast Show this morning, and we continue with our interview of the day. Like I earlier said, our guest is coming from the Socialist Party. He is the member of the National Management Council, Mr. Crispin Chinda, and also a community leader. Let's get on with our discussion. You were explaining about capitalism and socialism, on the aspect of the industrialization that we in the context. So you can proceed.
Yes. So capitalism is mainly at the expense of majority of Zambians. Few individuals will get rich, will get wealth. And of course, in socialism, ours is also a fight for equity, where let's say pabwera nshala so tifuna titi, and then in capitalism you want to get kuti udiweka, but in socialism zafuna titi divonse. You see, that is our policy, that is our philosophy in socialism. So even when it comes to the national cake, I think we are looking at how is it going to benefit the people in Karikiriki, how is it going to benefit the people in Kamanga. So tifuna share vintu. That's why we're talking about these productions, local productions, that we can raise money, and that money that we're raising on our own, we are not given any condition. That money has to be supported, has to be sent to our people so that we can support our people. Those that are doing business will be supported by Socialist Party government. Those that are, we are looking at the production, the cost of living. We need to look at maybe nice Tankara as government, Tankara Kochenanguna milling plant in Moz, like national milling the way it was owned by government. So that kulikoma subsidies kuja, and then we are able to do to control ourselves. We are able to have our own production, and then we can compete with others. Like the way ZNS are milling these plants, milling this milling mill, it was meant to cushion up the cost of the milling mill. But tida mamanje unga wa ZNS ujowenzo kulisa panga market ma 150 uliko manje. You see, so it's like they are failing to compete favorably on the market. But then we would want to use those also milling plants as well. But we need to increase capacity on agriculture, like I said. The maize must be enough. And then ZNS nakudala wevi, amalima no lima wevi. So we also need to look at the capacity, the farms they have. Are they producing enough? So that we can at least cheunga unachosisa mbili pa mpaka. Unipi is a problem ya unga. And then actually it was cost of living. But MMD, it was the same thing. But PF is the same thing. You can do all these things. You can build hospitals. You can do roads. But in that cost of living, people will not appreciate what you're doing. So what is important for us, and us as a Socialist Party, we are fully aware of what we are supposed to be doing. And this is why we are talking about agriculture to be our major pillar in whatever we'll be doing in government. Agriculture must be number one, because everything that we do comes from agriculture. Vovala veti tivala cotton vichoka ko agriculture. Vons chap vichoka ko agriculture. So when we have even in every province we have an agriculture school. Every district has an agriculture school, so that the extension officers are able to go in the districts, go in the rural areas, teach our people how to do do agriculture properly. I think we're going to be a better country. We have countries like China. China is a socialist state. And China is the most developing country. It's the superpower. As we speak, China is fast growing, in terms of industries and everything else, because they are doing their own things. They are producing their own. And when you're producing your own, you lessen up the exploitation. So socialism has less exploitation than capitalism. Capitalism, you'll be given something like a grant, a loan, but you'll be given conditions how you should be using that money that you've been given. But when you have your own money that you are making, you can decide, okay, we're going to have this allocation to agriculture, we're going to have this allocation to education, to support our free education policy. We're going to have this allocation to hospitals, to buy medicines. But in that your budget is being funded, half of the budget is being funded by outsiders. They will even tell you, oh, isn't that hospital? You are not supposed to use that money for something else. You see, so that is the difference that is there. And also in socialism, yes, there's free market in capitalism. In socialism, there's a mixed market economy, where we also support the private sector. China has these rich men. There's Jack Ma is coming from China. There are several Chinese that are rich. So one cannot say, no, in socialism there's no one who's rich. No, socialism also has produced very rich people. But then people must be responsible. Just like it is said in our circles that companies are supposed to be doing corporate social responsibility. It came from socialism. most of these football clubs, they were created under corporate social responsibility, which is also a socialism policy. Because when you are doing particular business in that particular area, you are responsible to pay back a little in your community where you are doing business, and then you are supposed to look at, are you paying the necessary taxes? And as a government, socialist government, when you are responsible like that, you are also supported somehow by the government. So socialism is the only way to go for now, because even most of these countries that we have in the world, they are looking at socialism policies. Of course, you have to leave some of those, just like democracy is improving by day. So even socialism is improving by day, so that we are bringing up in policies that are in capitalism, that we are also using them in socialism.
Interesting. Let's pick this call. Hello, you are through to the Camnet Breakfast Show. Good morning.
Morning. How are you, sir?
Fine, and how are you, sir?
I'm okay. Hoping you better.
Interesting. Your name and where you are calling us from?
Yes, I'm calling from Northwestern Province, Kalumbira District. This is Robert Sinangaremba.
All right, Mr. Robert, you can go ahead with your contribution this morning.
Yes, I just wanted to appreciate Mr. Chinda on the point where he was talking about the development of this country. On the point where he mentioned of the natural resources that we have, like the gold in Zambia, that can also help us to develop quickly and clear some of the debts that we have in the country. That point is right. We have the gold mining in Camnet there where people have been digging and then have money, and that money, up to now, we don't know the progress and we don't know what the Zambians are able to benefit on the end of the day. Yeah, example given. South Africa to be today the way it is, South Africa, and people admiring to go and stay there because of the gold mining that has been taking place long time ago. Because with that country, it attracted a lot of investors, and others stayed and others wanted to claim South Africa to be there because it was rich in natural resources. Simply to Zambia, let us utilize that mine and see that it has a point. So, Mr. Kinda, I support that point. And the other point that I need to say is on integration. We have the trade schools, but in the education ministry, we need starting from the 7th grade, 8th grade, 9 there. They are supposed to have skills like trade skills. They begin them as young as they are because that is a skill. You cannot begin a skill of music when you are grown up. Those things are natural born. So as young as you are, begin the skill that you are born with. If it's music, let it be at school. If it's in bricklaying or carpentry or those skills. Because in the long run, you find that person cannot complete the job. But he has a skill. We can make something. He's a crafty, gifted person. Therefore, you still add value to the nation through that skill or the trade that person has. So let us begin those things. In grade 7, somebody can make a table, can make what, not waiting for him to go to Sorrow State. He can be ready.
Interesting. Thank you very much. We appreciate and we value your contribution. Remember that you too can give us that perspective like Mr. Robert has done there in Northwestern Province. And we are discussing various issues pertaining to current affairs. And our previous caller was just agreeing to the aspect of the gold reserves, Mr. Chinda, and also the issue you spoke about pertaining to skills development. But you were also on the floor talking about capitalism and socialism. Socialism also accommodating progressive policies that are under the capitalist philosophy. Yes. So you can go ahead and also if you want to add to what our caller was talking about.
Yes. So let me first, before I forget I lose my breath on what the caller was saying. You see, these natural resources that we have, God-given natural resources, if we mishandle them, they breed conflicts, local conflicts. like civil wars in the country. So if we don't handle them well, just like I was explaining on capitalism, few individuals will get more rich and they will be using those riches they have to fight others. You see, so it is very, very important for government to be in control in some of these, like gold, so that it can benefit everyone in the country. What is happening now is because this government is a capitalist government, and the people of Northwestern Province, they don't know how Kasenseri itself would have benefited a lot of people from that side. But up to now, from the time PF was there, the time that UPND has been there, there's nothing significant that is coming from there that we can talk about. The mine, we don't know whether it's operational. We don't know how many people it has employed. We don't know the benefit that is coming from that side. All we are talking about is the debt. All we are talking about is the taxes and employment, recruitment of civil servants. But we are supposed to be paying much attention to what we are getting from, like the gold rush that we had in Kasenseri, the gold rush that we had in Mumezi. What is government interest? What is it doing? You know, capitalist governments, they push their agenda, personal agenda in getting these things. But as a socialist, we would want that natural resource to benefit the country. So we would want to take advantage that if there's a company, then obviously Zambians must be incorporated, and also on behalf of the Zambian people, the government must have a stake in it, so that the money, the gold is coming to, like I said, the gold is coming to Bank of Zambia. We're building that gold reserve, and when we sell that, the money will come to our coffers, to our treasury, and when we distribute that money to go to the, let's say it goes to hospitals, health sector. We know that a lot of our people get these health services from hospitals. When they have medicines, when we have abundant medicines in hospitals, it will benefit our people. When we take part of that money, we take it to education, it will benefit a lot of our children from there. And we also, like agriculture, I said, we need to recruit a lot of extension officers, for those that have done agriculture, to be teachers in schools, so that they are teaching our children from tender age about agriculture. By the time they get to grade 12, they would know, they will even develop that interest of going into full-time agriculture. The skills, we're supposed to have our children from school learning about these skills, so that by the time they get to grade 12, they know what they are supposed to be doing. But our syllabus has to be changed, has to be, some of these things must be deleted in our syllabus. Why should we continue learning about parts of a grasshopper? So kumbuka soko kuti kuzongala chintete. Cause kuzongala chintete, what is this is an ant, this is a chan, these are legs. But na test ya bwera. Then imagine what is the benefit for those things when we grow up. So these are some of the things that it is now time that in the socialist government, we need to change those things that do not add value in our lives when we grow up. We need things that will be adding value. Our population is growing, and if we are not careful, the population will catch up with us. And it will be a pressure on government, what you are supposed to be doing. So when we do it now, we start preparing now, I think it will be easier, the future will be easier now. This is why we are saying Zambian people support the Socialist Party, because we are concerned on how we are going to live in the next 10 years, 15 years. So we are planning now, and we are telling the people what we want to do.
While you are saying Zambians should support the Socialist Party, so there's an argument that socialism cannot work in Zambia.
Socialism is working everywhere. You see, in Zambia, Socialist Party in Zambia, or socialism in Zambia, has Zambian characteristics, meaning that these beliefs that we have, these same beliefs that we have, our traditional belief, will be incorporated in socialism. Every socialist state has its own characteristics. But what is important is the means of owning that production. Strategic minerals must be controlled by government. Certain productions must be in the hands of government for the benefit of the people. Supposedly, Patapetina, when government changed hands in 1991, supposedly the companies they were just improved that Mansa batteries we increase capacity, we make it better so that it produces enough batteries, because we have the raw materials. We can mine these materials to continue making batteries. Where was it going to be by this time? It was going to be a very big corporation, you see, and it was going to employ a lot of our people. If we had this motor assembly in this country, maybe it's stationed located in Livingstone, how many vehicles were going to be created by now? Sembetinapanga mamotoka ngati. Iwe soko sembe una motoka hapa. Ku South Africa kuja kulima motoka japutati, because yankala che so insurance companies babwiramo na chani kuche usebenza chazi wachati to be insured bakupasa cause wamba kuenza motoka yanyu. You see, not that you have the money to pay, but uzambo lipira kwa chipangono pangono che. So this is the level where we should be heading. Socialism has worked everywhere, and socialism is proving to be working in every country. And every country, this is why we're saying, there are some policies in capitalism that we need to incorporate in socialism. And even capitalism has incorporated some of the policies from socialism, incorporating them into capitalism, such as the free education policy is a socialism policy, but it's been incorporated in the capitalism governance, you see. So ours is a mixed market economy where those good things will put them. Those bad things that we know they are bad, we'll leave them. And it's an improvement that we have over time. It's a work in progress that we have. Everything, just like we are growing. There are certain things that we used to do when we were young, and then as you grow, you notice that I think even if you go Vireka, then you are growing, you are becoming a better person by day. So socialism of today is not the socialism of yesterday. It's growing, it's going with generations, and I think most of these countries, like America, has a mixed market economy also. They've incorporated some of these policies for socialism. Brazil, the president that is there now, is a socialist, and he's doing very fine. Russia has survived these sanctions that they've been put there because of their policies of holding on to some of the strategic reserves. Russia has gold there. In 2019, they offloaded gold on the market worth $219 billion, where they can even stay without anyone helping them. Russia has oil, which they control on their own. Russia has all these things that they control on their own. So even as Zambians, what is it when you sit back? We're talking about, we have a lot of minerals. We have manganese that we have in our country, but do we have control over them? We have copper that we have in this country, but do we have control over them? Tikareta copper hapa taikama minerals nangu ya tatu hapa. So pa pewa fika hapa. Sunga shtina identify kuti copper need. You see? So I think we need, for me I was very happy that at some point we said maybe tingatengeko che mine nango imozi kapena ni Mopani, kapena ni KCM tingatengeko imozi, so that we have a mine in our name as Zambians. But then it's very difficult. So if we don't have the capacity, if we don't have the manpower to run those mines, but at least we can tell those people that are running those mines to pay the necessary taxes to us, to government, not the way it is where mkabwirapo then mwambao kamba no, okay, you are going to be on tax holiday for 5 years or maybe for 10 years. What is the benefit for the Zambian people? And then yacha ma minerals yacha what sila che mi gold chape zija zaka sala che na me gold yeva zaka enda kwinango futhi kulima minerals kwinango. So that's why socialism, we need it now for this country to develop. Libya was controlling its own oil, and all of us tenzo kumbwira che kuti ku Libya kulibwi not na malova che amafola ndemwe tenzo mvera because so mvera pastori so at na malova che amafola kuti. It's because of controlling. When you have your wealth from your own natural resources, you are able to share it equitably to the people. Our fight is equity, peace, and justice. So this is why every day we are appealing to the Zambian people to tend to support a Fred member. He knows what he wants to do. Let's support Socialist Party because we know what we want to do. Because from day one, we want to start planning, to govern, and put these things in place: education, agriculture, mining, water resources, land management. we all need to we need to manage these things
This
properly.
party has also come under pressure that it is seemingly endorsing people who were incriminated in corruption and most likely taking them and accommodating them, and that the party will be diluted, and that's referring to the Socialist Party.
No. Politics. That is political. That is political. You see, Zambian people will notice this, that when someone who is perceived to be corrupt joins the ruling party, that person becomes clean. When that person joins the opposition, because for fear of that opposition will be stronger, they will say, no, they are getting corrupt people. How many people have been proved? Because in this country, we are presumed innocent until proven guilty by the courts of law. So it's easy for government to label someone a thief, what. But take them to court. How many people up to this time have been convicted that we can point at? No, prove no evidence in Zepo. Nothing. They're just allegations, and some of these allegations are not yet in court. But the way Zambians have been taken, we have been taken for granted that when someone is arrested, taken to police cells, nishiba mtumanje kuzangara pa social media, no, kansi demo wana bera, so kansi chanoko. But those same people, when they start talking good about the government and then they even join the government, you never hear of them. You never hear anyone talking about them. So, for example, even just these colleagues that have joined the UPND, you never hear anyone talking bad about them. But these that have remained in the PF, and these that are joining us in the Socialist Party, it's just political. They will continue saying these things. So even us, when we want, but this is not good for Zambia. This is not good for Zambia because we've seen it from time when UNIP lost power. The MMT fought UNIP, and even told the country that these people stole, they squandered, they did what? They destroyed the economy. After the MMT left, it was the same story. The PF has left, it's the same story. So, but what the people that are suffering, they are Zambian people because they will remain stagnant, the country will remain stagnant, they will continue fighting each other. And this is a bad part about capitalism, because it's just about fighting each other at the expense of the country to develop.
Would you allow me to ask me a last and personal question? This question, Mr. Chinda, emanates from that, for instance, you are dear to Munari. And every time we wake up, we talk about Munari.
Yes.
But we had someone from the Opposition Patriotic Front defecting, resigning from the PF in the name of Antonio Mwanza. And he also likes Munari, Karinga to be specific. Now, and he's been linked to joining the Socialist Party. Do you feel intimidated?
No, not at all, not at all. I think people Munari, it's all about... It's all about the people. What are the people talking about these people? Who is the better candidate in there? Competition is good. Okay? Competition is very good. For some of us who've been very, very consistent, from time immemorial, who've been interacting with the people of Munari, doing all sorts of activities in Munari on the ground. So when that time comes, people will be able to see. Just like in 2021, people were able to see when they brought in a different name. They even said they refused. They said, no, we're not going to vote for this. And indeed, they never voted for that person. You see, so it's about the people. Who are they accepting? So these political parties, the lesson that should come from 2021 is that follow what the people want. Who they want is the person they're going to vote for. In many constituencies, when you impose a person, a candidate there, if they don't want that candidate, they will not vote for that person, and the political parties have ended up losing. You see, so it is important that we draw these lessons. The past is there to sharpen our future. We have to learn from the past so that we know how we are going to live in the future. So when in the past something happened like that, and this is what breeds my heart when I look at these unprogressive fights, the personal fights that we have. We are Zambians before these political parties. So just because you support a different political party, I also support a different political party. There's no way we should be fighting at the expense of the people. You see, so when you are the MP today, and then tomorrow I take over from you, then I have to fight you, finish you, whatever you end. whatever you earned, as if you're not getting a salary. You get a salary to improve yourself. Yeah, you get those allowances because you've worked for them. But when I come in, I don't need to come and finish you. There are people that we have seen that worked, they were in government for 15 years. They were MPs for 20 years. But ana amangako cheka nyumba no, mukuira no, anamanga banji ja nyumba. I think I should explain. Some of these, yes, we need to investigate, yes. But let's leave politics out of those things. We are Zambians. All of us, we are Zambians. So let's treat each other fairly. And this is why in politics, in our political party, Socialist Party, we are saying our fight is for equity, justice, and peace. Because we believe that equity must prevail at any given time. And peace must be there all the time so that we can develop this country together.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Chinda, for gracing our screens, and we value your support to the station. Every time we call on you, you do make it even on short notice. We hope you will continue doing the same.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Cozy.
This has been the breakfast show on Camnet TV. We do appreciate the National Management Committee member from the Socialist Party, Crispin Chinda, who has come to come and discuss issues surrounding the governance of this country, as we were looking at issues to do with the price of minimum and of course the cost of living in this country. We need to be closing, but we are running out of time.
As we close, remember to join Prudence as of tomorrow, being Friday. We do business for breakfast, and we'll continue to give you nothing but the very best on Camnet TV. Remember that we'll be back next week on Wednesday and Thursday on the governance, politics, and policy edition of the Camnet Breakfast Show. This has been Patrick Soko and Makokwa Kozi. Until next time, remember to always keep it on Camnet TV, because Camnet TV is not just another channel.